Tonight on KGW News, election night in Newburgh. The city decides whether to recall 2 members of its controversial school board. Plus, another popular downtown Portland restaurant is getting off the pandemic roller coaster for good.
I mean, every day I remember this feeling of like, if we can make it through today, we'll try to make it through tomorrow.
And the government's free COVID test site opens early. What to know about ordering and how to best use the at-home kits. Your news starts now. We start tonight with the recall election in Newburgh. 2 controversial members of the school board are being challenged. But according to early vote counts, they're holding on to their seats so far. Catherine Cook shows us how this election happened and what's next.
Election day in Newburgh. On Tuesday night, the first returns showed a near-dead heat on the issue. About 52% of voters opposed recalling 2 members of the Newburgh School Board, Chair Dave Brown and Vice Chair Brian Shannon. The pair led the effort to ban all political symbols on school grounds. However, at first, the ban only included Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ symbols before the board expanded it. Chair Dave Brown explained that decision to KGW last week.
It just came out as simple as that, politics in the classroom. And they are political and they are adult-driven, and our kids are being used in a situation. That can't happen, not in public schools.
Last summer, the district's former superintendent did not enforce the ban. The board later fired him without cause. It was a series of events that led to protests and eventually this recall effort. Yamhill County resident Kristen Stoller helped get it off the ground. She was paying close attention to the numbers on Tuesday, especially with more than a 53% voter turnout.
You know, we can't tell because we've had so many people cross party lines. You know, there are a lot of different reasons somebody can vote yes, and it was not an exclusive party relation, really. So we, of course, are hopeful. But I personally have making no assumptions.
It may be several days and up to a week before all the votes are counted. The reason for that is this is the first election under Oregon's new voting rules. They now allow mail-in ballots to count as long as they're postmarked by or on Election Day. Conservative political group Free Oregon has long opposed this recall effort. A statement to KGW read in part, "Taking political symbolism out of our public schools is a great start to getting our schools and our kids back on the right path. But as you see in Newburgh, the extreme leftists are doing everything in their power to destroy the lives of anyone who gets in the way of their agenda." We sent several emails to all members of the Newburgh School Board today. So far, none have commented on the results. Again, it could take up to a week before all votes are counted and we have clear election results, which so far are extremely close. Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Another school is closed in the Beaverton School District. Greenway Elementary will be transitioning to temporary remote learning. The transition will begin tomorrow. Students and staff will be in remote learning starting Thursday through at least Friday, January 21st. We have a list of school closures and other scheduled changes related to COVID in an article posted to KGW.com. And if you text the word school to this number, 503-226-5088, we'll text you back with a link to that article. Meanwhile, the government website for you to order free at-home COVID tests launched a day early. But not everyone is happy about that. Our Pat Doris has talked with a couple folks who are frustrated.
That early launch was probably great for people who were online all day. They were able to find out about it, go place their order, no problem. But what about all the people that work away from a computer for most of the day? They got left behind, at least for a while. Word spread quickly among social media users this morning that the government website to order your free home COVID test was taking orders. Gina Lynch, a hairstylist, was one of many who did not find out until later in the day.
I think it's a little frustrating for those of us that come in contact with the public all the time.
She also thinks frontline workers should be, well, in front of the line to get these free tests.
I see kids from 2 years old to adults who are 85. And I really feel like it is our responsibility to know ahead of time before we come to work or anything else, if we have it or not.
White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki shrugged off the early launch.
So COVIDtest.gov is in the beta phase right now, which is a standard part of the process typically as it's being kind of tested in the early stages of being rolled out.
But a beta test in front of the entire country? That pretty much looks like a full-on launch. I checked the site, it's covidtests.gov, and sure enough, there it was, a live website. Below that, you'll find information about the free tests that will be sent to you, and if you want even more, there is a frequently asked questions page. By the way, some of you asked us if you can order more tests because you have roommates sharing a home. The government answered that in the frequently asked section, and the answer is no. You get 4 tests. What if you live in a large or multi-generational house? Still no. 4 tests. How do they work? Well, basically, you swab your nose, then expose the sample to some chemicals, and it tells you in 15 minutes or so if you are positive for COVID. But remember, it's a rapid antigen test, and those are not nearly as reliable as the PCR tests. In this clip sent to us by the University of Washington School of Medicine, Dr. Jeff Baird said there is a big difference in sensitivity.
If you have a swab and there's about 100 or 200 viruses, just 100 or 200 viruses on that swab, we can detect that with a PCR. For a rapid test, an antigen test, there usually needs to be tens of thousands or maybe hundreds of thousands. And so there's just a lot more virus that needs to be there.
And because of that, the best time to use your test is if you feel COVID symptoms, often similar to a cold. That's when the test is most likely to detect the virus. If it's negative and you still feel crappy 24 hours later, test again. And Dr. Baird says that home test is not great if you do not have symptoms.
A use that's not so good, however, is completely asymptomatic individuals testing themselves to see if it's safe to go have a family reunion or something, or go to the theater or go to an event, go into close quarters. They really do not have the diagnostic power to suggest that.
We're starting to hear about one glitch now with the government website. It involves apartments that have one address for the building and then a bunch of different numbers for the doors. But apparently the government's computer can't tell the difference. And so when others go in later to try and order their test, it says, no, there's already a test being sent to your address. If that's happening to you, we'd love to hear about it. Please send me an email. In the meantime, I'm Pat Doris reporting.
Dialysis centers are feeling the strain of the Omicron surge. Labor shortages are impacting staff and patients even more. Fresenius Kidney Care operates about 2,800 clinics across the country, including 53 in Oregon and Washington. 4 of those clinics have had to close temporarily because of low staffing. One is in Northeast Portland's Hollywood district. Patients are getting shifted to other clinics, which is a big challenge for everyone.
There's not an option to not receive a dialysis treatment, and most of our patients receive a dialysis treatment 3 days a week.
We need people to apply and come work for an industry that saves the lives of people every day.
The company is actively working to recruit more nurses and technicians. It's also adding benefits and mental health support for people who work there. Restaurants across Portland still face challenges every day, changing and changing again to remain open during the pandemic. While several found success, others couldn't keep moving forward. Tonight, Alma McCarty spoke with owners in the industry on how they're regrouping and what comes next.
Early on in the COVID-19 pandemic, restaurants everywhere struggled to stay afloat. The virus new and unpredictable.
Every day I remember this feeling of like, if we can make it through today, we'll try to make it through tomorrow.
Nearly 2 years later, that struggle is still the case for some.
It's just been a pivot over and over and over again. We've built greenhouses outside. We've built carports. We've built, barriers. We're trying to find a way to not close.
Nate Tilden, co-owner of various restaurants around town, says the time has come to close one for good. Clyde Common in the heart of downtown.
And we were part of the movement that really put Portland on the map. What we did with Clyde Common, 2007, we created a hotel, bar, and restaurant that was independently owned. I was the owner with a couple partners, silent partners. We said, what if this was like the place to be? Both food, both cocktail, wine program, energy. I think we can do groundbreaking work, and we did.
His objective now to keep open the restaurants that can thrive, like Bar Casa Valle in southeast Portland.
It's our duty to do everything we can to keep the lights on.
During the COVID time, we were just sort of ramping up to full operation, and then the fire.
Back downtown, Bob Cassidy, owner of Cassidy's Restaurant on Southwest Washington, says despite a building fire above the restaurant last summer that forced a temporary closure, he's ready to return sometime this spring. Now, having had more time to reflect on what he wants this place to be for his customers as he rebuilds.
We're going to do fine. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. It's going to be a challenge, but everyone who's in this industry can say that same thing.
Though setbacks persist, both say they're looking forward to the future of the industry and they're ready to work for it, hoping the scene will fully rebound.
I think the Portland restaurant scene will come back. I mean, there's no end to creative people who want to do cool things and want to go into business and make amazing food.
Tilden tells me Clyde Common hasn't been making food or drinks since last spring as he tried to figure out what to do to keep going. After 14 years, he announced the permanent closure this weekend on social media.
We are sorry to hear it. Thank you, Alma.